Okay, so before we start with Amazing Grace, phases 1, 2, 3 and 4, I'm just going to start off by playing Amazing Grace in its most basic form. Okay, sort of melody note, single melody, you know, just with one hand, right hand. And then I'm going to add the chords and then we'll take it from there. Because it's always good to start from the beginning, just from the basics and build them up. So it's in the key of G, okay, so... This is the key of G, 1 F sharp in the scale. Now, the actual tune itself is D, G, B, A, G, B, A, G, E, D, D, G, B, A, G, B, A, B, D, E, D, B, A, G, B, A, G, E, D, D, G, B, A, G, B, A, G. Now, if we were adding a chord to accompany the melody, we would play like this. Okay, so that's the chord. So there's the melody, but the chord is going to be G, D, and G there with the left hand, and B, D, and G here with the right hand. And this just play the melody with the sustain pedal on. B, A, G. So this chord stays the same, and the chord we ended up on there was D, F, and B. So I'm harmonising this. I've got D and B, C and A, B and G, back to D and B. Then play C and A together again. That's C chord, straight C, which is C, E, and G. In the left hand, an octave Cs. Then just a single note here, E and G, E and D, but accompanied by G octave bass and a B here to make the chord of G. So far we've got Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. The next part, that saved. Now this chord here is called E minor 7th. So what we've done, we've moved down to E octaves here, okay, in the left hand, and in the right hand we've just played that saved on the word saved, because that's when the left hand moves to E, and this is the chord you want here, B, D, and G, and G. So B, D, G, saved, and then the melody line, B, A, and G. Wretch. On the word wretch, we play octave A's here with the left hand, and C sharp and E, thumb on the C sharp, index on the E, and little finger on the B. And then like, that's A, fourth finger playing the A, little finger playing the B. Like me. On the word me, that's when we change again. Left hand plays octave Ds, and then the thumb plays a D, index plays F sharp, third finger plays A, little finger plays D at the top. And then I once, the word I is E. You see E here, not down there but up here, because we're going to give the song a lift here. I once. Again we go back to G here in the left hand, octave G's with a D in the middle. In the right hand we've got G, we've got B, and we've got D. I once. And these notes again. What was lost? So I once what was lost. That's D and B. I once what was. The word was is like what was. D and B. What. C and A. B and G. What was lost? D, G, B. I once was lost. Actually, that's a better chord. So you're keeping the G in the bass, 2 G's, bookending G's with your little finger on the G at the bottom, thumb, G at the top, index in the middle. I once was lost. What I've done there, I've added an F. So I'm playing on the word lost, I'm playing D with the thumb, little finger on the B at the top. And instead of a straight G, play an F, which makes it G7th. But, on the word but, that's an A with your little finger in the right hand. But now, on the word now. C's in the bottom, octave C's, and C, E, and G here. Middle C, E, and G. Straight chord of C. Triad chord of C. I'm E there. I'm found. Back to G. Was blind. So we stay where we are. Was is D. Was blind. So it's a straight chord of G again there. G, D, and G there. Was blind. B, D, and G. Was blind. Whoa. Again, here we go with that again. The same riff, like Amazing Grace. So it's the same notes. Was blind. Whoa. Now. D bass here, octave D's in the bass. Little finger on the D at the bottom. Thumb on the D at the top. Index here on the A. Now, here we have D and B at the top. I, D, C there and A there. C. So one more time. So this is Amazing Grace in its most basic form before you move on to phase 1, 2, 3 and 4, where it puts a lot more kind of gospel chords in, and then the boogie woogie part comes, and the blues and the gospel riffs and the blues riffs and so on. This is Amazing Grace in the most basic form, which I think is probably a good idea to learn before you go on to phases 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I'm going to play it again one more time at sort of a moderate speed. Okay, so that's just a little introduction of Amazing Grace in the actual bass, the foundation of it. So before we start playing all the kind of chords and gospel-y piano parts and sort of boogie-woogie parts that go with it, that you've probably seen me playing on YouTube. So I would advise that you sort of look at this one first that I've just showed you, and then go on to phase 1, then 2 and 3 and 4. Then it won't be such a sort of such a surprise. Unless, of course, you're kind of advanced and you already know that part, then you can obviously move on. But, if you're kind of starting out and you probably just know your little way around the keyboard, I'd kind of spend, however long you want on that. Because eventually then it will kind of go to, don't worry, as the tutorial goes on, it kind of... goes into all that, but I'm going to kind of try and wean you onto that part. But if, of course, you are advanced and you already know the kind of basics, then by all means go on to phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. And yeah, okay. So let's go on with phase 1 now. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so here it is, Amazing Grace, gospel boogie woogie style, and I'm going to be playing it in the key of G. Now, I'm going to do 4 different phases of Amazing Grace, and it's phase 1 will be the slow beginning, like the intro that I did. Phase 2 will be the second part of the intro. Phase 3 will be the boogie part, and phase 4 will be where the boogie part goes faster and then slows down towards the end. So okay, here's phase 1. Okay, so here's, just for reference, here's middle C on my piano. Okay, so I'm going to play it through first, what phase 1 is, and then I'm going to break it down kind of chord by chord, finger by finger, note by note. So I'm going to take this at a snail's pace, so don't worry. I'm going to play it at a moderate speed, well, the speed in which I played it on YouTube, on the YouTube video, and then I'm going to break it down. So this is what I'm going to call Amazing Grace, phase 1. Okay, so that's Amazing Grace phase 1. I'm going to take you through that. Okay, so here we go. This is where we start. We're going to start on one note, and this is D. It's the D next door to middle C. So with your index finger, preferably. So that's for the and then we go straight into that chord, you see. So instead of just playing one note, I'm not going to play a chord like this in the left hand. We're not going to do it in that style. What we do, we play. Okay, so that is it's a chord of G. So, and the way I'm playing it is G with my little finger there, index finger on the D there, and the thumb on the G there. I'm missing out B here because if I play B, it becomes a bit too muddy in the left hand. So you can miss out the B notes, which is obviously what we call the third. So all you need is little finger on the G, index on the D, thumb on the G at the top. And in the right hand, it's just this, B, D, and G. Thumb on the B, index on the D, and little finger on the G. So it's... Now instead of playing it kind of like straight in, I'm what's called rolling the chord. So see, I'm rolling the chord. I'm not playing all the notes together. I'm kind of going like that. Now, as soon as I play the first chord, I'm putting the sustain pedal on with my foot, okay? So that helps with the effect. Like, so the first note, when you've got the sustain pedal on, it makes a nice kind of resonance, as you can hear. The next part is... That, okay, is... So it's just D with the thumb in your right hand and the B at the top with your little finger. So it's, and you're following it down. D and B, C and A, B and G. So, here we go. So at that moment as well, the left hand comes off. So you've played left hand off, B and G, sorry, D and B, C and A, B and G, back to D and B. So amazing grace. Now, on the word grace, I'm adding an F. So in the left hand, the chord is staying on, the same chord as I played when I started, which is obviously G, D, and G at the top. No B there, we can leave that off. So I'm adding the F there, see? Which is obviously makes the chord of G7th. So, one more time. Now, when you do play this chord, you can kind of go, I'm kind of twiddling the notes, the F and the B, with my index finger on the F and little finger on the B. And it kind of gives that blues effect, you see. I mean, you haven't got to play that. That's just something that can come in time. I mean, I suppose the important thing, you know, to play first is the actual tune of it itself with all the correct chords and the correct notes before you might want to start adding, should we call them, you know, the sort of fancy, all the frills, shall we say, you know. So initially you could just play. Okay, but eventually you might want to go. And then it's A. And the chord of C. So it's how, A on its own, how sweet. That's C octaves in the bass, with the chord of C in the right hand. C, E, and G. How sweet. On the word the, that's C and E on their own. The sound. So one more time. And the sustain pedal plays a big part in this. So when you are twiddling the notes here, if you did it without the sustain pedal, it would sound like this. You wouldn't have the effect. But once you've got the sustain pedal on, you see, you're using the sustain pedal to create a really nice, effective resonance effect, you see. So the pedal is on kind of all the time there, and you only take the pedal off if the notes all start merging into each other. So if I keep the pedal on all the way through, it's going to sound a little bit messy. So you've got to kind of use your ear when to put the pedal on, when to put the pedal off. So if I kept it on, this is how it's going to sound. As you can hear, it's a bit messy and muddy and very, you know, you don't want that. So you've kind of got to pull the pedal up, put it back down. As soon as you hear it getting, you know, the notes washing into each other, that's when you put the pedal up. So let's just start it one more time. Okay, that's up to there. Now the next part is D, save. Now that chord there is octave E's. So all I'm playing in the left hand is octaves at the moment. No kind of chords in between, just octave That's saved. That's B, D, and G. Thumb on the B, index on the D, little finger on the G. That's saved. And then you stretch up then with your little finger to the B, A, G. That's saved. And then you go to this chord here, which is A, E, and A in the left hand. Again, I'm missing out this note here, so we don't want that because it makes it too, you know, too muddy in the bass. So I'm leaving what we call the third out, the third, which is kind of the third note of the A scale. In other words, the C sharp. We just A, G, sorry, A, E, and A at the top. That's saved. So there we got A, E, A, C sharp with your thumb in the right hand, E with your index finger, and B at the top. And then like, that's A, B, A, B, and then this chord, keep the A on in the left hand, the same as you play me. That's E, G, A, and D. And then we change to the chord of D. Now when I'm playing that, it's a straight D, which is D octaves in the bass, F sharp, A, and D at the top. And I kind of did that there, which is this, look. So, that saved a wretch like me, on the word me, and that's just play straight D, but then in the gap, because you've got a little bit of a gap before we go into I lost was found, okay? What that is, G and B, F sharp and A, D with your thumb, over to the B with your third finger, A with your index finger, and then this again. So when I'm playing the D, I'm flicking from the F natural to F sharp and A and D. So you've got D up here, and what you want to do is get down to D. So that saved a wretch like me. Bit of a gap, and then see that. Essentially, it's G and B, F sharp A, D, B, A, D. But what you try and do is do a lot of that. When you get a little bit used to it, you just go, that saved a wretch like me. So if you just practice that, eventually you go. So just slow it down one more time, that little riff. G and B, F sharp and A, thumb on the D, over with your third finger on the right hand to the B, to the A, the index, F natural with your thumb, and end on F sharp, A and D. And eventually you start doing that on the F sharp and A. So, that saved a wretch like me. Okay? The second part now. I, just one hand, one note, little finger with the right hand. I want. So that's a straight G. I want, with a G octave in the left hand. So that's the same as the beginning, where we went. So it's D and B, C and A, B and G, and then D D, F and B natural. But is A in the right hand. Now change to C. But now that's just C octaves in the left hand with the chord of C here. C, E, G. Now that chord there, this is nice, it's called C sharp diminished, okay? But you don't need to really know the names of it if you can just remember what I'm showing you. So what you do, you play C sharp octaves in the left hand, little finger on the C sharp down there, thumb on the C sharp there. And it's G, B flat, C sharp and E. So it's kind of a G diminished shape in the right hand, but because the left hand is playing a C sharp, it is technically called C sharp diminished. But you don't really need to know that, just remember the shape and then you'll be right. So, I once was lost, okay, but now, see, then this diminished chord, look, found. That chord there is D octaves in the left hand and a straight chord of G in the right hand. That chord there is E flat in the left hand, little finger on the E flat, thumb on the E flat at the top. Basically, when you do an octave in the left hand, it's always little finger at the bottom note and thumb at the top note. So, let's go from here. I once was lost, C diminished chord. That's a D with a G bass. That's a D bass with a G chord. That chord there is octaves, E flat in the bass and A, C, E flat and F sharp at the top. Was blind. Okay, again. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind. E bass, E octaves in the bass with B, D and G at the top of the little finger. Thumb on the B, index on the D, little finger on the G. In other words, it's E minor. But this is the shape. So, was blind, but that's just fishing the tune out there with your right hand. But B-A-G, B-A-G, but now, on the word now, C and D with your thumb, try and play both. F sharp and with your index finger, little finger on the B at the top. Octave D's in the left hand. Now, that's an A, I see. That little rundown in the left hand is just on the, but now I see C octaves in the left hand, B octaves, A octaves to G. In the right hand it's a C chord. Basically what it is, it's C chord. So it's C in the, so C, E, G. Then you go to B in the left hand, B octaves. Keep the G at the top with your right hand. B and D in here. Go down to A with the left hand and play A and C here. Again, keeping that G at the top with your little finger. And then end on a straight chord of G, which is G octaves in the left hand and G, B, D, G. So on the rundown, this G kind of stays. It plays every time you play the notes. You play the G at the top with your little finger. So what I do though, to sort of, you can kind of make it a little bit bluesy, gospel-y, you know. So So what I'm doing there, instead of playing a straight C, but initially, if I were you and you're just beginning, I would just stick to the straight C. There's all these little things like that kind of thing can come later. Once you've kind of, you can play fairly fluently, and you kind of go, then sort of think, okay, I can do that. So maybe now we can add the little, you know, these bits in. Now what that is, okay, the left hand stays the same, just to run down. In the right hand, it's, I'm just still keeping the G at the top with my little finger, and kind of flicking D, E flat, and E. Like that. Index on the D, little finger on the G. You flick up to the E flat with your middle finger and land on the E. Like that. And then go to D, here with the G, flicking from this note, the C sharp. So it's basically you're flicking like this. And then you're flicking from the B to the C, and then B flat to the B. So it's basically like this. You flick it from that one to there, like that. But when you add the G at the top, and then at the very end, play this chord. D octaves in the bass, G with your thumb here, C, D, E and G. So altogether, this is the end of phase 1 before we go into phase 2 of Amazing Grace, and I'm going to play it one more time very, very slowly what we've done so far. So it's okay, so on to phase 2 of Amazing Grace. Now, this is almost the same as the first verse, the first phase that we did. So this is kind of verse 2, if you like. So it's just played slightly different. So it's still slow, the tempo is still the same as phase 1, except we're going to play in more kind of octaves, you see. So instead of playing like we just did, so it kind of goes like this. And then that's when we start with the, you know, and so on. But before we get there, this is phase 2. started off more or less the same. We started off on the same note here, which is D, the D above middle C. So it's just this D here. So that's more or less the same what we did in phase one, but then so instead of playing like this is just to vary it a bit. So instead of me repeating phase one twice, it's just to give it a bit of variation. So I'm going to move up now with my right hand. The left hand will stay the same, and play octave B's. So it's single notes, B's, A's, and G's, and then we're going to play these notes here, which is B, D, F, and G. So one more time. Up to the octave above. Now what I'm playing there is it's B, D, F, and B at the top, but it's kind of I'm kind of holding this B on with my thumb here. Got the sustain pedal on, and I'm kind of going D, F, and B. But initially, like before, you could just start it. Just play the straight chord rather than these things. You can always come back to these parts and play them afterwards. You see, so they're kind of they really are effective once you've got them. Yeah, they're great to play, but it's kind of, let's just get the correct chords and the structure. That's the word I'm looking for. The structure first before we start adding all these kind of all these kind of bits, you know, because these little bits can come afterwards. So if we just get the structure to start with, okay, that's a straight G, as you can see. We're going to move up the octave and go octave B's. Okay, end on G, B, D, F, and B at the top, which is G7th. And then octave A's, how sweet. That's octave C's in the left hand with a G and a C and an E and the G at the top here in the right hand. Thumb on the G, index on the C, little finger on the E, middle finger on the E, little finger on the G. Then octave E's down to here, chord of G. So you've come back in the left hand to G, D, and G there. And here D, G, B, and D. That's saved. So I've gone down to the E with the left hand, G here, B, and E, and G at the top. Saved. And then B, octave B's, octave A's, octave G's. That chord there is A octaves in the left hand, and a B, and a C sharp, and an E, and a B at the top here. B, C sharp, E, and a B at the top. From the start. Up to your octave B's. Octave E's. Ending on the G here. G bass. Octaves. D, G, B, and D at the top. And then there's a little run up there. That's saved. D, E. That's E octaves in the bass with G, B, E, and G at the top there. So that's saved. B, A, G, And this chord here, I mean, if you don't want to play that chord, you can kind of just play the B's. But if you can fill in the gaps, it's kind of C sharp and E. A, B, D. And then D, G, A, D at the top. And then, and of course D at the bottom. Octave E's here. I want. That's D, G, B, and D. Then B, A, G. What was lost? That's B, D, F, and B at the top. But octave A's while you're still holding down the G's here in the left hand. But now C in the bass, octaves, it's always octaves in the bass. And in the right hand here it's G, C, E and G at the top. Now, and we've got the same kind of diminished chord as we did before, so these are the same. C sharp bass, octaves with a G and a B flat and a C sharp and a G at the top. D bass and G, B and D, and then up to E flat in the left hand octaves. So this is the chord here. C, E flat octaves in the bass, and A, C, E flat, and C, F sharp here. Fishing out these notes at the top, B, A, G, but now. That's the same chord as in phase 1, which is C, D, F sharp, and B at the top, with an octave D's in the left hand. And if you can play, you can just make this chord just a D, F sharp, and B at the top. But if you can add this C in here with your thumbs, you can play the two at the same time. C and A. Same thing, but an octave higher. Or. Okay, so I'm going to go through that again and put all the little frilly bits in and show you what they are. So it's octaves, and there's your frilly bit there. Remember sustain pedal on? You can kind of do that. All I'm doing there, I've got the sustain pedal on, and when I've got an octave playing here, like the D's, I'm just doing this with the sustain pedal on. And then this bit. Again, I'm just kind of twiddling the octaves with the sustain pedal on. Now that bit is the same as in phase 1, so it's basically it's essentially G and B to F sharp and A to thumb on the D, over to the B and A, and then repeat G and B, F sharp and A, and D, over with the thumb. So G and B, F sharp and A, thumb, over with your third finger, B, A, and then repeat G, B, F sharp A, D. Over with your thumb again and repeat. G, F. Except, so instead of going, if you can kind of go, if you can kind of go, thing that comes in time. So if you can just, to start with, practice that. And then. Again, I'm doing the octaves with the sustained pedal on and splitting the octaves. Was lost. And on the word lost, you got B, D, G, F, and B at the top. Pedal on, sustained pedal on. Word, octave A's. But now, here's your diminished again coming. Then we're going to go into phase 3, which is the old. Okay, that's the next one. Okay, so when we finished phase 2, this is phase 3, and this is when we start. I mean, this is almost like a completely different version of the song, kind of put together with the slow start as we've just done. And what this is, so obviously it's in the key of G major. Now the left hand, we're not going to put as many chords into this part because all those chords, like the diminished chords that we used, etc., and the slow part, there was time to play it there because we didn't have a constant left hand going, so there was more time to play the chords. But with this, you see, with this, when it starts going, you've got to stick really to about 4 chords in the left hand. So I'm going to show you the left hand first. So these are the 2 hands together. I'm going to play, I'll play the boogie bit slow. So it's okay, so what that is, I'm starting the octave above middle C. So there's middle C, and I'm going to go up the octave to the D. So there's C, middle C, there's the C at the top, next door, D. So it's, so again, the left hand basically is called what we call the chop. They call it the chop. I don't know why, but that's what it's known as in the trade. So it's your little finger on the G here, and your index finger on the D here, and your thumb on the E here. So that's your left hand. What you don't want to do is get into the habit of using your thumb here on the D and your thumb on the E like that. That's a really bad habit to get into, and a lot of the time once you start like that, it's hard to get out of the habit. But it really is not a good idea to play like that. It's better if you can play, you know, little finger on the G, index on the D, little finger on the G, index on the D, thumb on the E. So here's your left hand to start with. So it's basically 2 hits on the G and the D, 2 hits on the G and the E. To C in the left hand now. Same thing with C, so it's little finger on the C. And don't go up to the C, go down to the C. So it's C, little finger, index on the G, thumb on the A. So it's 2 hits on the C and G, 2 hits on the C and A. So again, So we're just looking at the left hand for now, then I'll move on to the right. So don't worry, I am going to move on to that. So it's amazing grace. How, on the word sweet, that's when you change down to the C. Sweet. The, on the word sound, back to the G. Riff. That saved. So we're staying on the G. That saved a wretch like me. This is D in the left hand, and A and B. So there's 2 hits on the D and A, 2 hits on the D and B. So the 3 chords you need to know in the left hand. So it's amazing. So we start on the G riff. Amazing grace. How sweet, on the word sweet. That's when we change to the C riff. The sound. That's back to the G. The saved. Stay on the G. Saved a wretch like me. On the word me, change to the D riff. I once, back to the G, was lost, stay on the G, but now, on the word now, we change to C. I'm found, on the word found, back to G. Was blind, stay where we are, but now, on the word now, we change to D. I see. Okay, and that's it. So the tune is the same as we play in phase 1 and phase 2. It's just the left hand really that changes, and of course a few improvisation bits that I do in the right hand, which I'm going to show you as well. But before we go on to those improvisation parts, I really must stress that it's best to learn the tune first and not try and get into the fancy, frilly. They're really nice, they're really effective, but to get the basics down first. So if I were you, I kind of learn this part first. So it'd be or even simpler, you don't have to play the octaves, you can play just the tune, the melody with the right hand. So you can kind of go, just so you get to use of the changes in the right hand. So that's the tune is this, look. D, G, B, A, G, B, A, G. Move to the left hand riff. E, D, D, G, B, A, G, D, A, D, D, A, B, D, I think. E, D, B, A, G, B, A, B, G, sorry. E, D, that would be Amazing Grace in a sort of basic form. So concentrating really the right time to change in the left hand. You know, when you change to the C riff, when you change to the D riff, etc. So that's why I'm kind of singing the melody as well to try and help you. So, you know, those of you that don't know when to change and, you know, you're not sure when it goes to C and when to change to D, etc. As long as you can get a reference, say, okay, Amazing Grace. On the word sweet, I go to it, C. How sweet. On the word sound, we go back to G. Let's say. reach, like on me, we go to the D. I once, back to G, was lost, but now to see I'm found. Was blind, but now to D I see. So you can use the words if you like, if it helps, so you know when to change, really. So yeah, I mean, so then if we want to start to get kind of more kind of more gospely with it, more bluesy, we can kind of play. You see that kind of thing. So it's the melody's the same, but I'm just playing a kind of gospely, bluesy piano parts around it. So I'm starting it off pretty as the same. Now for there, instead of going, I'm flicking off the C sharp and the B flat. See? So these notes here are the same as we played in phase 1 and phase 2. So see that? I'm just flicking off these notes. So C and A, C chord, and this is when we change it the left hand to C as well. So there's a lot of this twiddling you see going on. So you see there, I'm flicking from the C sharp and the B flat to the D and the B, then the C and A, B and G, and then D and B. How sweet, you know the word sweet. So, like I said, when we played it just with the one note, how sweet. On the word sweet, I'm just playing the chord. You see, instead of playing the one note, I'm filling it out with the chord. The chord is C, and you know that because the left hand has gone to the C chop, the C chop. So therefore it's a C chord in the right hand. Same. It's a G chord. Now what that little riff is there. So when I've gone to the D, so it's a bit like phase 1 and phase 2. When we sing the word like me, there's an opportunity there because there's a gap for you to be able to play something. So you could just start like me. But you see, because there's a gap there, you've got an opportunity to fill out the gap with what we call a piano riff. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you here what I just did there. So the saved like me. So that fills out that gap. So what that is, it's the same riff that I showed you in phase 1. Except I'm just twiddling the notes. It's just a sort of a case of practicing to get this. Play up the octave. I once was lost. I once to G, D and B. B. But A. Now I'm found, was blind. So that's the same thing in D, but in G at the end. Okay, so here we go. Amazing Grace, one more time, phase 3. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we're going to go on to phase 4. Phase 4 of Amazing Grace, and it's going to be pretty much the same, the first part of it, as phase 3, because it's the boogie woogie part, except at a faster tempo. But it brings us to a nice close of the hymn when it slows down towards the end, and you'll kind of see what I mean. So we've just finished phase 3. So just supposing was blind, but now I see. I played Amazing Grace but didn't play the melody line. I started off with the melody line, but then I kind of went off the melody line into kind of a lot of kind of improvisation. But what I did, I kept the structure of the song the same. Now that means I've kept the left hand exactly the same. So it still went Amazing Grace. So in other words, you start it off so you remind people or remind yourself what you're actually playing. So it's Amazing Grace. So that kind of thing. So I start off as I always do in phase 1, 2 and 3. Now here I'm going to go off the subject slightly with the right hand but not the left. The left hand is going to keep the left hand going, pumping away there and keeping the structure and the chord changes exactly the same. So, okay, so if you imagine playing the melody line, but you've got to keep the melody line in your head while you improvise. So I'm going to start off as I always do. So that bit there is a bit of an improvisation. So what I'm playing there is an improvisation when the chord has changed to C. How sweet. So the little riff I'm playing here is E flat and F sharp to E and G. The sound. So then A, B flat, B, D, E, D. So okay, so that is what's known as a bit of improvisation. Now, improvisation is something kind of you know, I personally probably wouldn't do exactly the same thing, twice. But just as a reference, this is something that you can do if you want to improvise around the chord sequence that we have here. So start it the same, the melody. That's when we've changed to C. A. tune of it again, the melody. That saved a wretch like me. Now, on the word me, you can, for example, do this bit of improvisation, which is the D's kept at the top, while you play F sharp. So D, little finger, F sharp with the index finger here, and you're playing the D riff in the left hand. So that is, so every time you play a note here, like F sharp, G, A flat, A flat, G, you play the D at the same time as it. So it's twice on the F sharp and D, twice on the F sharp and D, once on the G and D, once on the A flat and D, once on the A and D, once on the G and D, once on the A flat and D, twice on the A flat, the A natural and D. So it's back down again, A flat and D, G and D, then F sharp. So here you kind of go, for I once was lost. So that is C and E, B and D, and then G. So C and E, B and D to G, E, D, and then land on thumb on the B, little finger on the G. So I once. That's in place of I once was lost, but now that's in place of the melody line that goes I once was lost. Okay, so that's again C and D, C and E to B and D. Okay, so that's C and E to B and D, flicking off the B flat to D to G. To come over here, come over with your middle finger to the E and the D, and then land on the B and the G, then the E, D, and then move up like this. B and G, B on the bottom, G at the top, C and A, C sharp and B flat, and D and B, D at the bottom, B at the top. So and you've got G going in the left hand, the G riff, so and that kind of thing I'm doing there, essentially it is, you know, that's what it is. In fact, essentially it's actually not even flicking off that, it's so. But now, so you go back to this one here, where you kind of go E flat and F sharp to E and G. Rock back to the thumb on the C. So we've done this one before. A, B flat. C, that is when you can kind of go C, that's B and D, thumb on the B, index finger on the D, little finger rocks up to the G. back to the B and G, B flat and C sharp, up to the G again, A and C. So all the time you're rocking up to the G. So it's amazing grace. That's when we stop and we go back into the slow bit. Now, you see, the thing is, when I improvise, I don't always improvise exactly the same twice. Well, I'll probably do sometimes. But generally, I might change one note or two notes or three notes. So it's kind of, what you do, you learn all these little riffs and stuff in whatever key. Like, for example, we're in G at the moment. We're in the key of G. And then you kind of incorporate them into solos when you're improvising, you see. So if you'd like to learn more about that, then the free download tutorial that I've sent with Amazing Grace, which is called Learn the Best Boogie Woogie Piano, if you look at that, that's showing you lots of, it's not showing you any particular tune, or song. It's showing you kind of how to improvise in a boogie woogie situation scenario. That DVD is actually in the key of C, so it's kind of a lot easier. But Amazing Grace is in the key of G. But, you can learn Amazing Grace, you can make it as kind of complicated as you like. Let's look at the slow bit. So this is where, after you've gone, it stops, and then we start again, which is more or less like phase one. So we're using this in the left hand, G, D, and G at the top. So it's G at the bottom, little finger, index finger on the G in the middle, thumb on the G at the top, here. So it's, and it's these notes again, B and G, to D and B, C and A, D and B, C and A, B and G. And then we end on this like D, F and B at the top. Then A. We're moving down to C octaves now in the left hand. You can put a G in the middle if you like, you don't have to, it's optional. Chord of C, E, back to G. And it's this chord again. The same octave E's, B, A, G, and then there's this chord again, which is A octaves in the left hand with an E in the middle if you like, in the right hand, C sharp, E, G and B at top, like A, B. All that again. Remember, it's the same. I want E. Once. Good G. Then same again. D and B. To C and A and B and G. Was lost, and then but now. And here we go again with these chords. Same as before in phase 1 and 2. C sharp octave bass with G, B flat, C sharp and E in the right hand. D bass with G, B and D in the right hand. Now that's an E flat in the left hand octave, exactly the same as phase 1 and phase 2, and in the right hand we've got A, C, E flat, and F sharp. Was blind. E bass, B, D, and G. D bass with a D chord here, with this C added. I see. And that's it. That's Amazing Grace. Phase 1, 2, 3 and 4. I hope this tutorial has been helpful. I do have other tutorials available. Just email me if you're interested in any of them. I have quite a list actually, so I'll send you a list of tutorials I have available, such as Great Balls of Fire, Nut Rocker, Learn the Best Blues, New Orleans, Dr. John Starr, etc, etc. I could go on. Good golly, Miss Molly. Grange Hill even. I've even got Grange Hill. Okay, so I hope you've liked that little lesson today, and I hope you've learnt a lot from it. So, it's bye from me for now.